This week, we're going to talk about overused words in debate, crossfire rounds, and yes, whiteboard markers. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ask Learning Leaders show. Coach Mike here on a beautiful sunny day in Shanghai, coming to you from a slightly different location than our usual one. We switched it up. We went in the East Room as opposed to the West Room, just to keep you guys on your toes. So we have some awesome questions today we're going to get to in a moment. But first, before we do, I want to share with you guys how excited we are to be in the midst of the parent-team conference season. This is something I look forward to twice a year so much. Twice a year, all the coaches at Learning Leaders meet with parents and members of the community to discuss how all of the students and professionals that we work with are maturing and progressing through their skill development. So this is something that we're incredibly grateful for, and it's an opportunity that we don't take lightly to be able to sit down with every single parent and member of our community and discuss with them exactly how their students are progressing and what we can continue to do better in the future. So thank you so much for everybody who's already come and met with the coaches, and if you haven't already, please reach out and schedule a time to do so. All right, so now right into the questions. Let's see here.
Hi, my name is Kieran Fadness from the United Kingdom and I go to Reading School. I would like to ask Learning Leaders what the most overused word in debating is.
Awesome question from the UK, from Kieran Fadness. Thank you very much, Mr. Fadness. So what is the most overused question in debate? It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with two answers to this. Number one would be like, or any other filler words that students use. So during a debate and during a public speech, it's important not to use filler words. When you're speaking this, you completely lose credibility with the audience. When you are speaking in a way where the audience cannot actually understand what you're saying, but instead is distracted by the amount of filler words that you use, it is detrimental to your ability to speak persuasively. Now there's one key idea that I think all debaters can remember if they find themselves using filler words, and it's this idea of the tailgating principle. Now, tailgating, when you're driving a car, means being too close to the car in front of you. It means almost being on their bumper as they're driving. And so when we speak in public or when we debate, we can think of the words that we say as cars going down a highway. Now, if the cars are super close together, meaning you're speaking really quickly and there's not very much room in between the cars, a pause or a break down the road is going to cause a chain reaction for all these cars to bump into each other or tailgate. And it's when these cars bump into each other or when these words bump into each other that we use these filler words. And so what we need to do is we actually need to space out these words or space out the cars more so that there's not a traffic jam. And what we can do is to actually slow down our delivery. The slower you speak, the less likely you are to use filler words because you have more time in between each word to develop your ideas and to think about what you're going to say next. So you can probably hear right now, I'm speaking maybe a little bit more slowly than you might be used to hearing someone speak. But over the past 15 or 20 seconds or so, I haven't used a single filler word. On the other hand, if I was trying to describe this computer here, right? And it's pretty big, it's nice, it's shiny, it's about 18 inches, and as soon as I start to speed up, I can't really help it. My mouth is moving faster than my brain. And so these cars, or these words, are bumping into each other. And so they're causing a traffic jam or the use of a filler word. So if you find that you're using these overused words, like Mr. Fadness is asking about, the likes, ums, and uhs, slow down and watch these filler words magically disappear. A second word I think people use actually too much in debate would be the word therefore. And that's not to say that using the word therefore isn't good, because impacts are incredibly important in the debate, but I think there are other words you can use instead of therefore. So you can use thus, you can use so, you can use consequently. If you want to put a throwback to the Roman times, you could even throw in a little ergo. I mean, it's up to you. But there are lots of different words that you can use that telegraph to the judges in the audience that you're about to give a conclusion or an impact. So thank you very much, Kieran. Really appreciate the question. It's an awesome one. All right, we're getting on to the next
Hi, I'm
one
Matt.
here.
I go to SAS. My question is, what's the best advice you can give to a debater in crossfires?
Matt, it's a great question. Thank you very much. What is the best advice I could give to a debater for crossfires? There are a lot of things that come to mind with this question, honestly. And Matt, just to be clear here, I think he's talking about public forum style debate, when you and an opponent are standing up and volleying or firing questions back and forth at each other. So the crossfire round. I would say a key thing that a lot of debaters forget, and it sounds so simple, is preparation. Having questions ahead of time is absolutely the most important element of a crossfire round, both at the novice and at the advanced level. A lot of advanced debaters might enter a crossfire round and say that they feel completely comfortable with this topic. They've done it before, so it doesn't matter. But having even just a few questions jotted down ahead of time can make the world of difference. Number one, it allows you to actually use those questions if you need. But the second thing, and perhaps most important, which I think a lot of people forget about, is it gives you that extra boost of confidence during the crossfire round. You know that even if you can't generate a witty riposte or a reply to your opponent's comment right away, you have these questions in your back pocket. You have the bench strength of these questions that you can use. And so with that knowledge, it gives you an incredible amount of confidence to go into the crossfire round and dominate. A second piece of advice for debaters in the crossfire round would be to breathe deeply and relax. Crossfire rounds can get really intense, with the speakers firing questions back and forth. Tensions might rise, tempers might flare, but the cooler head always prevails. So to be calm, cool, and collected during the crossfire round is going to impress the judge and the audiences tremendously. Yes, it is persuasive and exciting to be emphatic and to be really into the moment and to be intense and ask these questions in a passionate way. But sometimes debaters can overdo it. And so to be relaxed and to be calm in the face of adversity shows a lot of maturity and experience. And you tell the judges very clearly, without saying a single word, that you know what you're doing, you've been there before, and that you're a professional. So being calm, cool, and collected during the crossfire rounds would be something else that I would say would benefit a lot of debaters. So thank you, Matt, for that question. All right, we're into the final question here.
Hello, I'm Gordon. I go to SDS. And I'd like to ask, how much money do you spend on markers in the past semester? Thanks.
All right, Gordon, how much money do we spend on markers in the past semester? Well, I'm a little embarrassed because I probably should know the exact answer to that question by looking at an Excel spreadsheet or something. But why don't we do a little quick mental math and figure it out? All right, so Gordon, we have 2 learning centers, as you know, one in Pudong and one in Puxi. And you're currently in the Pudong Learning Center, though you've come to the Puxi one before, so you know this one exists. So we have 2 learning centers, and each semester lasts about 15 weeks. So we have 15 weeks of practices throughout the course, 30 weeks of practices throughout the course of a semester. And let's imagine that a box of markers comes in a pack of 10, let's say, and each one is, I don't know, Patrick, how much is a box of markers? 10 RMB, 15 RMB. Yeah. Let's imagine we get the the really nice ones. 25. Let's go 25 RMB. All right. So 25 RMB for a box of markers. We get 10 markers. We have 30 weeks or 30 practice weeks that we need them for. And let's imagine that we use a box of markers a week. And by that I mean we probably use 3 of the markers. 3 of the markers somehow are defective. 3 of the markers somehow get broken, and 1 of the markers somehow gets taken by one of our students. I'm looking at you. Yeah, you know who you are. You know. Yeah, you know. All right, so if that's the case, then we're just gonna do some simple math here, Gordon. We're gonna take 30 weeks times a box of markers a week, so that's gonna be 30 boxes of markers times 25 renminbi per box. So we're gonna look at about 700 renminbi. And by 700 renminbi, that's actually not that much money. It's about $100. But Patrick, why are you laughing? What are you laughing about?
I don't know, it's funny.
Is my math wrong? I think it's right. Leon, is my math wrong?
It's right.
I guess actually 25 times 30, well, that'd be, I guess, 750. Right? 750. So it's $120. Gordon, $120, 750 RMB. There you go. Return those markers. Not kidding. Okay, cool. All right, so now, thank you, Gordon, for that question. We're gonna get on now to the quotation of the day.
Quotation of the day!
Good guy. All right, and as I give this quotation of the day, we're gonna have Leon Snapchat this, guys. Really quick, you guys gotta know, you can follow us on Snapchat at LearningLeaders, follow us on Instagram at AskLearningLeaders, send a question in at ask@learningleaders.com, or talk to any of your coaches about how to get on the show. So the quotation for today is from Charles Kettering, who is a US-based inventor and industrialist. He was one of the most important people founding the DuPont chemical company. He invented a ton of things, has hundreds of patents, and what he said, which I firmly believe, is that great achievement can only take place within the framework of great expectations. And I believe that this is just so beautiful and so succinctly putting into words what we as learners in our life need to keep in mind. We cannot exceed the expectations that we give ourselves and really learn and push ourselves unless those expectations are high. If we only expect a little bit of ourselves, then we're never going to achieve greatness. And so in order to reach that goal, in order to hit that milestone, in order to improve the way that you feel like you want to improve, you need to set high expectations. And it's okay if you don't reach that expectation. It's also okay if you overshoot it. But the point is that expecting greatness of yourself will result in at least you shooting for that target. So you may have heard the expression, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll end up amongst the stars, right? Well, I actually disagree with that, because if you shoot for the moon and miss, the gravitational pull will probably redirect you into an incoming asteroid or something like that. You won't really end up amongst the stars, but the idea is good, right? You know, aim high, and even if you miss, you're still gonna come out with a great outcome. And so Charles Kettering, beautiful quotation, and something we should always remember as learners and as leaders. All right, so that's all the time we have for today. This is episode 6 of the Ask Learning Leaders show, and we'll see you guys next week, same place, same time. So tune in then.